Hi, A's fans. Scott Stangl here. I'm former president of the Sheboygan Athletic Club and also chairman of the Sheboygan Athletic Club Hall of Fame Contributors Committee. And I'm joined today by the 2025 inductee into the Sheboygan Athletic Club Hall of Fame as a contributor, Mr. Mike Marty Martin. So welcome, Marty.
Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate the honor of being inducted. I was thinking on the way over here that if you look at the list of people that are inducted already, I think I would rank right down near the bottom because there's some really good candidates or people that have been inducted.
Yeah. Yeah, just to give you a little background about the Sheboygan Athletic Club Hall of Fame has been around since the mid-90s. Now, 3 years ago, we decided or the board of directors decided to expand the Hall of Fame to include contributors. Now, contributors are pretty broadly defined as those who contributed to the organization for a continuous period of time off the field. You're a little unique in that because you did play for the A's.
I'm definitely not a Hall of Fame player, but I've been associated with the club for a long time. It's kind of an interesting how it works out because I played with the A's for 6 years, and then I went to Howard's Grove and played for 5 years, and then I retired from playing and started umpiring. And I think it was Dave Gare said, Marty, you ought to get involved with the A's. And since I was done playing and that kind of thing, and was done with my association basically with Howard's, although it was a great time, I joined, and the rest is history. That happened probably in the early 80s.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, when you mentioned Dave Gare, yeah, that goes way back because he played long, many, many years ago.
Yeah,
Probably 40 years ago, Dave Gare
it's
played.
been pretty long. He
Yeah.
was, I know he played for a long time
Yeah,
too.
yeah, he's on the board behind us.
Right, exactly. Yeah. He was quite a player, and so I guess having this happen to me this year, it's got to give him credit.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just a little more background on the contributors. Like I mentioned, we added contributors to the Hall of Fame 3 years ago, and our first four inductees that year were Donna Moyer, Betty Zeikert, Art Kober, and Snipe Van Vagel. And last year, we inducted former Mayor Dick Schneider and Mike Feudner. And this year, it's you, Marty.
Right.
So you were an umpire. So you're kind of all well-rounded with baseball in the community.
Oh, definitely played Little League growing up. And like I said, I didn't say, but I was bat boy for Kingsbury, which is a forerunner of the Sheboygan A's, for a couple of seasons. And then played Legion ball and with the A's, like I had mentioned. And after that, I got involved in umpiring. Did that for 35 years. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Wow.
It doesn't rank anywhere near like guys like Dennis Semp, who's been at it for 50 years, and he's still umpiring maybe 100 games a year.
Wow.
But it's all part of that baseball, that I like doing. And then an opening occurred with the Sheboygan A's with the live stream announcing, and I dabbled in it a little bit when the regular guy wasn't able to be there. And CJ Skelton, who runs the press box, basically asked me to come in a few times to do the field announcing when Bill Wagner or whoever else was doing it at the time. So all those different things relating to baseball have kind of culminated in this. And I did help a lot with the club, obviously. You were the president. I was the vice president for a couple of years.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was able
to
get rid of it and give it to CJ, who did it for a few years. And he said, "I'll only take it if I don't have to run a meeting."
Well, I remember you recruiting me. You recruiting me back in the early 2000s. It had to be 2001, 2002 to become a board member. And you calling up and egging me on to become a board. Well, I did, and the rest is history. After that, vice president, on to the presidency. Yeah. And, without you telling me, getting me involved.
You were the right kind of guy to be the president of the club because you had inroads with people in the community, and we needed that. You always need that, but at that point, we really needed it, and so you were in a sense a godsend for the club.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. So. Tell me a little bit more about Fred Weber.
Fred Weber.
Can you tell me, because he was the one and you were the instrumental in getting that $100,000 for us to do the lights here a few
Yeah,
years ago.
Fred.
Tell me that story again.
Well, Fred was pretty involved in baseball, not so much in Sheboygan. I think in his playing days, he played when he was in the service, and he also played for Oshkosh, actually, even though he was a Sheboygan guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he was inducted into the Old Timers Hall of Fame. And I think that spurred his interest again in Sheboygan baseball. And then when he got really sick, all of a sudden, he was donating this money. Well, what Tom Grams and I did
Mm-hmm.
is we drove up to Door County and physically delivered his plaque for induction into the Old Timers Hall of Fame. And part of his will was the $100,000 for the A's for upgrading the lights in the field and that. And it's just interesting how that works, because here's a guy that had played a lot of baseball, but he wasn't really real tight in terms of Sheboygan
Mm-hmm.
baseball. But he really came through in a big way, and I believe they have a plaque
Yes,
downstairs with his name on it,
park.
recognizing him. And
Yeah.
it was
And that was a very crucial time too, because we were working on the lights here, and that was a $500,000 project, and trying to come up with the money. Now the organization was able to, through donations and contributions, get about half of that, but we needed that extra piece to get us over the top. And if you wouldn't have been a part of the Sheboygan County Baseball Association, and willing to put Fred into the Hall of Fame, and then make the trip up to Door County to give him the plaque, maybe that would have never happened.
The nice thing about it too was he was so appreciative. I mean, literally, when Tom presented him with the trophy, he had tears in his eyes, and he was on his deathbed, literally, because I don't remember the exact day, but I think like a day and a half later he had passed.
Mm-hmm.
And his caretakers at the end gave us a call about him dying. But so we made it just in time.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting how the simplest things in life, just that trip there and back that you and Tom made, and then what the benefit for the Sheboygan Athletic Club.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Because that's what really got us over the hump. And then with the city's help, we were able to replace all the lighting here.
Right, and it's made a huge difference. This is so much nicer. One way I can tell, well, we've done some TV games here with WSCS, and with the old lights, you could get the infield, but you couldn't see the outfielders. The lighting just was so bad. Now, when we've come here and done night games, which isn't very often, but it's a huge difference. These lights are so wonderful.
Yeah. And as you're getting older, now you can actually see the players on the field when you're doing the play-by-play for the A's, right?
Well, I'll tell you, there are a lot of balls that are hit that I don't necessarily see them, but the outfielder tells me what's happening.
Is that why you have an intern up there, a young guy?
He doesn't see
with younger eyes? Yeah.
You think so, but it doesn't always work that way either. But,
well, tell me more about your play-by-play and doing the live stream for the A's. That's really an important part.
One of the things that's really been enjoyable, and I look at it with pride, is the idea we've instituted a intern process, and we have in different areas. And fortunate enough for me, the last 5 years, we've always had a broadcast intern, someone that I could work with and try to pass on what little knowledge I have about broadcasting, even though I've done it forever. But that's been a lot of fun, and I think the interns have gotten something out of it.
Yeah.
The intern I get to work with this year is Lucas Schulze, who actually is in, I believe, his third year with the club. He ran the cameras the last 2 years, and now he's going on. He graduated from Lutheran High. He's going off to Marquette in broadcast journalism, and we're going to be working together this summer.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of duties when he's working, because he still has to run the camera and get us to commercials and get us back in and make sure I stay on the straight and narrow. And so it'll be a lot of fun this year. And it's been a lot of fun all the other years too.
Well, isn't that great for Lucas? I mean, the opportunity that we're giving him and all the interns here.
It's like I told him, the best part about interning this year, he gets paid.
He gets paid, yeah.
Is this the first year we're paying people? Second year.
Second year, yeah. Yeah, well, that's wonderful. When CJ, well, CJ's behind the camera, by the way.
Where he belongs.
Yeah, he was instrumental in getting the intern program off the ground.
Oh,
But
right.
it was always the interns have got to get something out of this. They got to take something forward to learn, to put to their practical use into their career, and what you're doing with Lucas and the other broadcast the interns you've had. I'm sure you've had a really positive
The other
impact.
really nice thing about this intern program is we've never had a dud. They've
Hmm.
always been great kids and worked really hard, and some of that credit has to go to CJ because he's the one who hires, picks these kids up.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know how many we have entering into the program that he has to sift through because I think we only have room for 4 or 5,
Hmm.
but they've all been good ones as far as I know,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
really nice.
yeah, yeah. A great experience, great experience. So to change gears here a little bit, tell me about the Sheboygan Old Timers / Baseball Association. You've been involved in that for many, many years, and I understand you're just recently inducted into their Hall of Fame.
Yeah, last year was fortunate enough to get inducted into their Hall of Fame, and for I think it's definitely over 20 years I've been as a member of the club, probably even a little more like 25. But anyway, for 15 of those years, I served as the secretary treasurer, which was a lot of fun. It was different back then, and I can remember when I first joined. I mean,
Hmm.
like 25 years ago, it was a vibrant organization, a lot of members. We only meet 4 times a year, but when you get to that October and February meeting, you'd have 200 people at a meeting, and
Hmm.
it was really something that was a great thing.
Hmm.
It still is. It's just different now. It's hard to get members involved in organizations like that. And I think our membership roll now stands at right around 100.
Hmm.
And when we do have our meetings, it's much less than that. You're lucky to get maybe 40 people at a meeting. And they had their induction of Tom Graham's about 2 weeks ago
Hmm.
at the VFW club right down the road here from the park. And
Hmm.
the attendance was very low. And it's unfortunate because Tom, was very, very deserving. He served as president for 10 years of the club.
Hmm.
And all of his 10 years, I was the secretary treasurer. And I'll be real honest, we were a great team. We worked together very well, and he was a great guy to work with. Just like it was
Yeah.
when, we were on vice president and president.
Great.
So it's a different organization now. It's just not what it was in the past. And I think
Hmm.
that's a trend amongst organizations. They aren't as vibrant as they used to be. People have other interests, and it's unfortunate. So
Yeah. Yeah. Things change over time. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is kind of a role reversal here. You're the one that's usually doing the questioning and
exactly,
doing an
and I've
interview.
done it with you several times.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
come
we've
up to
done
the
it on
booth.
the air. Yeah, and I'm sure you're still doing it. You've had some interviews with Denny and Tim, and I mean, I'm sure that you've got more plans for interviews. Do you like that part of the whole live stream broadcasting?
One of like
Obviously, the game is
Yeah,
important.
my broadcasting has gone from doing football in the fall, basketball in the winter time, and that's through WSCS, the city station, and then in the summer is the baseball. And between those three sports, baseball is my favorite because it's not so fast moving, and you can talk to people, and people come up, if they get a 1, 2, 3 inning, stick around for another half inning,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we can talk. And
right.
it's nice in that regard, and I enjoy that. And you can tell stories, and we banter up in the press box a lot, maybe too much. And
Mm-hmm.
but that's the part that I like and enjoy. And we get we try to get Denny up at least once a summer. It's Of course you can't do Tim; he's down in the field
Yeah,
doing
sure.
that. We did do one year Tim after the season, like a wrap up kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking, I think we wanted to do it last year, but for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. We weren't able to do it, but we try to get people of interest to come up and talk. And one we're going to do this year, and CJ finally got it in the book. We I was wearing my A's stuff to senior softball in Arizona, and the guy saw me. He thought it was a cool logo and everything. He ordered shirts, and he ordered shirts again this year. Well, his girlfriend lives in Illinois, and he's coming to visit from Arizona, and they're going to drive up to Sheboygan and come to a game, and we'll be interviewing him.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Hopkins, his name is. He's a lawyer. He used to be a judge.
Yeah.
And then he went back to being a lawyer, but so we'll do him. And
so you're going to interview him about lawyer stuff and
I don't
Supreme
know.
Court and all.
It's kind of like here, who knows where it's going to go. But we'll talk a little senior softball in Arizona.
There you go.
He was I'm a B player. I'm not that good, but he was an A player for a long time. And the last time I was out there, he was playing with us B guys. So he's getting a little older. So it's, it just depends. We had, I can't remember his first name, Bogenschutz, who runs the Packer, trips and all that. He came up.
Yeah.
They had a bogey night here at the ballpark. He came up. We interviewed him. So, that's what I like about baseball is you can do some of that.
Yeah.
We've done it in basketball. We had Desso come up at North and after he'd retired and do a game. But it's a little easier with baseball.
Yeah. Look at where sports has taken you, and baseball in particular. All the different touch points that you've had with baseball throughout the community. And
several years ago, Denny had just thrown out an idea to write maybe a paragraph or two about somebody that was instrumental in your life regarding sports. And one of the guys for me was Bobby Ayers. Now, he died a few years ago, but he played the first couple of years with the A's, and then he was a gym teacher up in Manitowoc. And when I was in 8th grade, our team played in a Two Rivers tournament and beat a couple of Manitowoc teams. And he sent me a letter. And one of the closing lines was, don't forget your grades. And what I found out from him is that, here's a guy who's going to lacrosse to be a gym teacher. And I loved sports at that time, being a kid. Well, shoot, I can make a living doing sports. And and he was an inspiration in that regard. So, and of course, baseball. I don't know if baseball was always number one because I love basketball, but I wasn't that good at anything actually. But I started a little bit, but it turned to baseball, and so then it, like we were talking before about playing and umpiring and so on and so forth. So
tell me, how did you first get involved with the broadcasting? What was the first sport you did? Basketball, football, baseball?
That's an interesting story. A kid that I played Legion baseball with, Steve Lohner, was one of the broadcasters. They had just started, and I should be able to remember. 31 years of doing broadcasting. But I talked to Steve. I said, I would like to be like a analyst kind of guy. I know enough about football and basketball and baseball and stuff. And he said, okay, I'll have you come in and talk to Kerry Kautzer at the time. He was the station director. And this was in the summer.
Yeah.
And I went in, I said, Kerry, my name is Mike Martin. I think I could do a basketball. Can I, help out? So he goes into a drawer and he pulls out a schedule and he says, when can you work? And it was a football schedule.
Yeah.
And I remember, I still have a copy of it, Sheboygan North against Berlin.
Okay.
In football, and that was my first broadcast. And then, of course, went to basketball, and we never did much baseball or softball. We usually get a game or two in the spring, but that's how it all started. I saw him doing it on TV. I could do that. Yeah. So I talked to Steve Lohner, and well, it was going to be a basketball analyst, was football, basketball, and baseball, and just kept at it all the years. And Scott Maloff is our director now, and he's a great guy. And so and then with the opportunity here, who's it? Joey Grundle, right? Was the
I remember Joey.
Joey was the live stream announcer, and then he wound up going off to college, and he was out east somewhere, and so there was an opening, and I wound up asking, and I got to be able to do it. Yeah.
Well, you certainly have done a lot for the Sheboygan Athletic Club.
We didn't mention all those days when they'll say park cleanup, and I did a bunch of those too. and shut down.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember you and I out in right field trying to get that yellow capping on the
Yeah.
fence. Oh man.
Yeah, I think we've all done that. That's all. That's why you're in the Hall of Fame, because you're great at capping the fence. Yeah,
You're
not
right.
because
You're
you're a
right.
good
Thought I was going to be
broadcaster
a
or player.
supervisor.
No.
Well, one of
Yeah.
the good days was, you remember, and this is again something that's changed over time. Organizations would get their people out to help organizations in the city.
Mhm.
And I remember at least twice, I think we did. We had people from, I don't know if it was Acuity or somewhere, they brought in like 30 people to
Sure.
help
Yeah.
set up the park. And what normally would take days,
Mm-hmm.
because we couldn't get enough help, took like one afternoon. In 3 hours we had the whole park ready
Right.
to go for the
Right.
season.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. The community
unfortunate they don't do
connections.
that anymore.
Yeah, the community connections are so important to keep
Was that
the
you?
organization. Yeah, I was the president at the time, but really I got to give the credit to Bill Weinog. I think he was the one who organized it and got involved through the Chamber of Commerce and this community work day.
Right.
So I think he was the one who kind of brought it forward, and I said, let's go with it. Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah.
A lot of different things going on.
Right.
Try to help out where you can.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame weekend, and that's July 18th.
Let me check my schedule.
Yeah, make sure you're going to be here. And,
July 18th.
You'll have an opportunity to address the crowd between the games that
gosh.
day. Yeah.
Jeepers.
Yeah. So you'll have to come up with a speech. Or we could just run this video.
Well, CJ said, just say thank you and leave.
Just thank you and leave.
Come back up. Game 2.
Well, Marty, thanks a lot, and congratulations
thank
to you.
Scott. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I
we
really
appreciate everything you've done for the organization, and you'll continue to do for the organization. You're really an integral part, and your name in the Hall of Fame is well deserved.
Hey, thank you for the kind words.
Yeah.